Hello and welcome to a Smaulgld special on platinum. A lot has been made in recent days, weeks, months, and years over the elevated gold-silver ratio. And that's been elevated for decades, really. It has not been at the 16-to-1, so supposedly natural ratio for quite some time. For those you want to follow the gold-silver ratio, go to Smaulgld, scroll down, click on the gold-silver ratio, and you could see a live daily chart on the gold-silver ratio as well as some historic charts. But today we're going to talk about a ratio that's not talked about very much, which is the gold-platinum ratio. Now, historically and for decades, platinum is traded at a premium to gold. But over the last couple of years, gold has traded at a premium to platinum. So we're going to take a look at some charts, some live charts. We're going to take a look at the historic charts, and then we're going to learn a bit more about platinum, its limited monetary history, its uses, who produces it, who consumes it, and so on. And also there's some buying opportunities if you are interested in buying platinum. It's not investment advice, but there will be some buying opportunities to take a look at and compare pricing and shipping if indeed you want to take the plunge and buy some platinum. Smaulgld gets a small commission if you do indeed buy. This is not a selling presentation. It's just that there will be ads that you'll see as we go through the presentation, so just be aware. All right, so the gold platinum ratio, as I mentioned, is out of whack. Here is the one-day gold price versus platinum. As you can see, it takes 1.35 ounces of platinum to buy gold. Now, it wasn't always that way. As I mentioned, it used to be the other way. There's those ads to buy 1 ounce, 10th ounce, so on, platinum coins. There's your. All right, so let's take quickly look at the gold and platinum mining production. More than 10 times the amount of gold is produced each and every year than platinum. There's usually 2,500, 2,800, I think we're close to 3,000 tons a year produced of gold, and platinum generally between the 200 and 300 tons a year. So global gold production is about 10 times the amount of platinum. So there's your relative scarcity argument. Well, if that's the case, why isn't platinum 10 times more expensive than gold? It's the same argument I hear from people about silver, that the relative rarity is not 75, 80 to 1, so why is silver so cheap? Because relative rarity is not the full way you value a particular commodity. Also, its value in its use is also not the only way, because copper is very useful, but it's very cheap. A lot of things are useful. That doesn't give them its sole value. It's just part of the equation. All right, let's continue. Here's your one month chart. You can see that the gold platinum ratio has been above more than 1.3 to 1 for the past month. You keep going down. Now, platinum they don't really sell very much. The United States Mint has dabbled in selling platinum coins. A few years they don't sell. They haven't sold coins from like 2008 to like 2014. They started selling them again. But even when they sell them, they don't really sell that many. And they sell, I think this year, there's a platinum coin out to 2017. There was one out last year. 20,000, not very much in the way of platinum sales. The Canadian Mint sells platinum coins. All the major mints will sell a platinum coin, and all your bullion dealers, BGSC, SD Bullion, Money Metals Exchange, Golden Eagle Coin, they'll all sell you platinum, but you really won't see it featured very much on the site. But they do indeed sell bars, they sell coins, and so on, but most people don't buy them. Hey, just take a quick look here. Here's BGSC. They sell a 2017 coin. You can see it's only $1,000. So it's much cheaper than gold. There's your Canadian bullion coins. You can get any random year one for less than $1,000. They come in bars. So it's like gold. The PCGS and NGC, the coin grading systems will grade them. So there is a very small market for platinum in the coin and bar arena. It's just that they just don't sell that many of them. Now here's your 1 year gold platinum ratio, and you can see the lowest it was over the last year was 1.15 to 1. Now uses for platinum. Platinum is used in catalytic converters. That's its main use. And you know, maybe that's the reason why the price is down, that with this battery powered trend that's going on, you'll be using less platinum for that purpose. You know, cobalt will be a big in demand, as well as lithium. Jewelry. Now, most Americans and Westerners don't wear platinum jewelry, but it's very popular in Japan and China. And then, of course, investment. And gold's number one use is jewelry. Excuse me. And its industrial use is about 10%. There's a platinum bar. Then here's your 5-year. Now you can start to see the difference. Generally, you can see here, before 2013, the ratio was closer to 1 to 1. And in 2014 and 15, it was about where it normally is below 1 to 1. Now, who makes platinum or produces it? South Africa is the number one producer. So there's very limited areas in which platinum exists. And that's basically South Africa and then Russia. There's a little in Zimbabwe, a little in Canada that we know of, and a little in the United States. I think they didn't even find platinum till like the 1800s. And when they did, it was in Russia. And I think that's when they made coins out of it. We'll get to that in a sec. Here's your 10-year. Now you can see, look at this. In 2008, the ratio was down to 0.4. I think platinum had reached well over $2,000 at that point. But then you can see it generally is under the 1 ratio, and recently it's been well over 1. Now, gold, you can see, is more widely dispersed. It's in China, Australia, Russia, US, Peru. There's plenty of countries that are producing those 3,000 tons a year of gold. There's only a handful of countries that even have platinum mining. That's what the platinum eagle looks like. Now, here's your 20-year ratio. Now you can see basically from the 1998 to 2009, it was never below 1 to 1, never above 1 to 1. Now you can see recently, though, that ratio has really picked up, and it takes you more and more platinum to buy an ounce of gold. Now, here's what I was talking about. Gold, as we know, has had a long, rich monetary history, rivaled perhaps only by silver. But platinum, due to its relative scarcity, it has limited monetary metal. Platinum coins were issued for a short time in Russia in the 19th century when they found that there were some coins. You can buy those too. But they really only circulated in Russia. I think they're in rubles. You could check them out at the bullion dealers. They're probably more valuable for their numismatic than just for their platinum value. I'm not quite sure. Now here's a 50-year chart. Now look at that. In the 50-year chart, you can see from the 60s to the 70s, it was usually a 2 to 1 ratio, or at least you had to have 2 times the amount of gold to buy an ounce of platinum. It went up, but you could see it stayed below 1 for the longest period of time, but just brief periods where it broke above 1. But this is one of the longest periods where the ratio is above 1. And you can see down here, it's basically more than doubled since 2008. So you used to take 2 ounces to buy 1 ounce of platinum. Now it takes 1.3 ounces of platinum to buy 1 ounce of gold. And there's it's dense metal, platinum. In fact, it's even denser than gold. It's very, very heavy. So you can see the density of gold is 19.32. Platinum is extremely dense. If you hold one of them in your hand, they're really heavy for their size. Copper is only 8.96, silver 10.5. So it's an even heavier metal than gold. And look, the year discovered, 1735. All right, so let's take a look now. I did a supply and demand on a platinum supply and demand report here. Oh, those windows are showing up there. We'll get rid of them in a second. They should. There they go. All right, so there's, like silver, platinum often goes into a deficit, but yet the price has not increased. These are the numbers that they're showing, and there's been a deficit for the past few years, and the price doesn't reflect the deficit. So again, that would indicate perhaps that there's manipulation in the platinum market too. What's interesting is palladium, which is considered a platinum substitute. It's within the same metal family, has gone up from like $400 to $800. It almost now rivals the price of platinum, and platinum used to be 3 or 4 times cheaper than palladium, and now they're both almost about the same price. Platinum demand and use, as I mentioned, there's your automotive demand. It is used in electronics. It's used in chemical refining, petroleum refining. There's some dental use, and then jewelry as well. But look at the annual demand. It's only 7.5 million ounces. Just like silver, I think the value of the platinum 1 year's mining supply cost about 15-20 billion dollars, just like silver. So it is a small market that someone wanted. They could probably corner this market even easier than silver because you don't have to find much platinum to do it. 7.5, you have to find 200 tons of platinum. There's some pictures of the coins for sale. Now, platinum is used in automobiles as a catalytic converter. It reduces nitrous oxides. It is actually a very unique metal, very unique properties, and very, very rare. So it has these industrial uses. You can read about it. I'll put a link below. I'm not going to read this to you. The uses of platinum in industry and also in jewelry. As I mentioned, it's popular in Japan. Japan was the #1 purchaser of platinum jewelry in the 1990s. Now China is, but it is very popular. And Chinese platinum jewelry demand is 75% of the overall platinum jewelry demand. And jewelry is about 30% of overall demand. It's a very unique metal. You really can't tell the difference between platinum and shined up silver. At least I can't. But a lot of people do. They go for the platinum setting on their rings versus gold, because at the time it was considered even more exclusive than gold, even though the price now is lower than gold. Now, there are platinum ETFs, and you can see here the largest platinum ETF. This is an older chart, but if you go, actually I'll post one in the coming days, but you can see there's 3 or 4 million ounces in the ETFs. Not very much. And as I mentioned, there's only 8-10 million ounces that they produce each year, so a lot of it's in the ETFs there. Now you can see there's another chart there from 2000. And again, ETFs, just like silver and gold ETFs, they came up with this ingenious idea so you wouldn't have to buy metal, that you could buy an ETF around 2000, 2007, 2008. And the popularity of these ETFs in gold and silver and platinum has increased exponentially. But I mentioned the coin demand, however, not so much. They don't really sell many coins. And, that could be a collector's point because they do grade these coins. They don't sell very many of them, 20,000 a year. Maybe Canada makes 5. I don't know. They really don't make that many of them. But then again, there's not many people who collect platinum. So that's another reason. Just because something is rare, there has to be a corresponding demand for that rarity. And the downside of platinum is, who wants it? Well, if you're just a person who wants something that's scarce, something that's a precious metal, well, then you'd want it. But that doesn't seem to be a big selling point, and people are pouring into silver on a dollar basis. But platinum has, if you like silver just because it's rare, platinum is 10 times rarer than gold. I'm not making that point as a selling point. I'm just saying that if you subscribe to the belief that the gold-silver ratio is ridiculous, well, the gold-platinum ratio, by that mentality, is even more ridiculous because silver, they say is maybe there's about 6-7 times the amount of silver available to invest in as gold. Well, there's 10 times less platinum to invest in than gold. I mentioned you got your platinum eagle coins, not very much of a big deal. You see the US Mint decided not even to make them for a while. Here, I do have the Canadian Mint. The Canadian Mint, they sold less than 20,000. They don't really sell that many of these things. So they've sold 100,000 of them in a 5-6 year period. There's the Perth Mint. I guess the first year they sold a bit, but now they're selling very few. And the supply, as we mentioned, 83% of it, it's 6 million ounces in 2013 was mined. So you really don't need a lot of money to buy those 6 million ounces. And there's some secondary sources, but most of it comes from mining, and 75% of it comes from South Africa. Okay, and here's your platinum mining by country. Yeah, 75%. The rest is spread out amongst Russia and Zimbabwe and these other countries, not too much to mention it. So basically, South Africa has a mining strike, and boom, there goes your 75% of the annual mining production. China, well, platinum's starting to get a trade on the Shanghai Gold Exchange, but again, that's not bad. I mean, they trade a decent amount of platinum on the Shanghai Gold Exchange. Here's your gold silver ratio. Today it is May 9th and it is 75 to 1. Now, existing platinum stockpiles provide the metal to cover the supply-demand deficit, and I guess it's the same with, supposedly, I don't know where these stockpiles are with silver, but these deficits exist, and deficit to me means that there isn't any. There's a deficit in versus the supply to demand. Well, somehow the demand gets met by supply, so I don't know how they call it a deficit, but they calculate the deficit based on mining production and then secondary sources like scrap, and then they match it up against the demand. But I would think that if you're in deficit like silver supposedly is for at least 10 years, that would show up in price because it would be difficult to meet the demand, but somehow they managed to meet it all the time. Well, here's a chart I want to show you that I created a few years back, but this is how much silver is created every year. Produced in mines, about 800 some odd thousand, 800,000 ounces or more. Gold, about 3,000 ounces, and then platinum, it doesn't even show up, 5-6 million ounces. This is 850,000. I'm sorry, let me step back. Silver is about 850 million ounces a year. Gold, 3,000 tons, and then platinum, 6,000 ounces. So it's all very small amounts in platinum, and a lot more silver being mined every year. The argument with silver is it gets consumed. I get that. Gold, it still exists. Platinum, it probably, there's probably a lot of platinum that does get thrown out because it gets used in small amounts in catalytic converters, and probably doesn't all end up back in being recaptured. I'm sure they recapture a lot of it though. And here you go. Gold, silver, and platinum as percentages of total precious metals mining production. And you could see, if you just count on how much metal they pull out of the ground, almost 90% of it, of the three precious metals, is silver, 10% is gold, and basically none is platinum. Again, if you're going on the rarity mentality, platinum is one of the rarest things you can find out there, and yet it doesn't trade at a premium because of that rarity. And that's about it. If you enjoyed this, please consider, I don't say consider donating to Smaulgld anymore. I say please do donate to Smaulgld via PayPal, via Bitcoin, if you can spare it now at the price over 1,700, or become a patron on Patreon. Thank you very much for listening.